Good morning. My name is Samantha Taylor, and I will be giving a persuasive presentation to the Assistant Director and Director of a Crisis Call Center that services the northern half of the state of Wisconsin. The protocol that I hope to change is regarding the Employee Assistance Program referral emails and the information that we are allowed to give out to parents calling to receive counseling services for their children. In a couple of the calls that I had experienced, I had given out extra information regarding text lines and had been reprimanded due to it not following protocol. This has changed my thought process in wondering why we're not already giving that information and what has to be done to change those things to have a positive effect to not only the parents and the children who are dealing with these issues, but also for the call center specialists and the company as a whole. Good morning, Jana. Good morning, Stephanie. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and listen to my ideas and allowing me to express them. Over the past couple of weeks working in the call center, I've experienced a lot of different calls and have quickly realized that while we have lots of scripts and protocols and lists and ways to do things, every call is different and every human is different. And sometimes you have to just go with the flow to be able to provide the best possible services and keep everybody safe. In that, I did a little bit of research after our last conversation regarding the text lines that I had sent out. I did find that we do actually have those numbers in our training material and in our database with resources. So it is something that has been looked at and has been reviewed as information that we can give. However, currently we can only give those to the crisis calls. That is something that I don't really understand. And I don't understand it for this reason. We are not therapists. We're not there to solve the problem, but what we are there to do is to be the guiding light to help guide them to the people who can help them in the best ways. Giving out those text lines is one of the best ways to do that, especially for this group of people and this community. Young adults and teens have proven that social media, texting, and doing things on the phone rather than in person are a more effective way for them to communicate because that's how they've grown up. And if it's a more effective way for them to communicate, then it would make sense that when they're having feelings that for anybody, no matter what age you are embarrassing, can feel overwhelming. And it's just scary to come out and tell somebody that you may feel like you want to hurt yourself or do something that you can't take back. Providing those text lines is a safety barrier in those emails. We're already doing what we have to do to be able to get them the services as quickly as possible with those referral codes. And we do have that crisis line for if the child is in crisis in that moment, we can call the EAP crisis voicemail. That may take an hour, but it's faster. But what about those couple of moments in between that? Or those few minutes at night when it's 10 o'clock at night and your 16-year-old is having these feelings and you're in bed and they're afraid to come wake you up and tell you that. It's easier for them to have that number available in a non-confrontational way. If we provide that number to the parents, then they are able to provide that number to the students and to their loved ones in a way that doesn't feel so bombarding. If we put them on a crisis call, obviously for safety reasons, we have to ask them all of the hard questions. But while it's hard for us to ask those questions, it's also hard for them to answer those questions. And we might not get a reliable answer that is necessarily the whole truth. Having that text line available, whether it be in their phone versus a text or put on the refrigerator or anything else, can help them in those moments where they don't feel comfortable reaching out to anybody else. Now, that's the easy solution, but how do we get there? I looked at this as well. And the best thing that I could come up with was just like with the crisis calls, we implement a box in our template for the emails for just additional resources. We don't have to use it every call, but just like crisis calls, if we feel like this could help them and is important and is pertinent, we just put it in. We don't have to, but we could. All we would have to do is look at all of the resources that we have for the crisis and transfer it over and make it across the board for both parts of the umbrella. It would take a little bit more training, but not much when it comes to adding this. maybe a couple of minutes per employee. And while it would take a little bit of time for the seasoned employees to get into the role of doing this, if we do make it across the board for both crisis and EAP, it will actually become more efficient in the future, and it will just become second nature, not incurring any more training cost for the company as well. It also helps each specialist, because when you are able to provide that for a parent and the parent says, "Thank you so much, I'm so glad I called," or when you save that kid's life, that does something for you. It makes you happy. You helped somebody. So not only does it help the person in need, but it also helps boost that employee morale as well as company. When you are able, especially with the EAP with the school districts, if you have one or two families who use the services and they rave about it, they're going to talk to other parents about it and give those resources to them as well to help the other kids. The kids are also going to then give that line number or that text number to other students as well, which is less work on us, which may mean more calls, or less calls, for our call center, but at the same time, more people are going to be getting help, and we're going to see those suicide numbers go down because less and less people are going to feel stuck or like they don't have anybody else to reach out to. So I think that while it is going to be a little more work on our end to be able to get everybody into the role of doing this, I think it's going to have more beneficial factors in the end, not only for us, but for our consumers, as well as the people in crisis, which at the end of the day is what we're trying to do, help people and save people. And if it takes an extra 2 minutes to look up a number, it's worth not having someone fall through those cracks. Thank you so much. And if you have any other questions or anything else that you want to discuss to hopefully get this into place and brainstorm and make it better, I am willing to do so. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a great day.